Welcome. What's the greatest fear of today's retirees? Well, running out of money in retirement is one big one. And what's the greatest benefit Social Security can offer? Regular income that is guaranteed to increase over time. Yet many retirees today do not understand how their Social Security benefits really work. As is written in a white paper by Prudential's James Mahaney and Peter Carlson. My guest is James Mahaney. He is Vice President with the Strategic Initiatives Unit of Prudential. James, it is a great pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Scott. It's great to be here.
Well, let's begin by talking about some of the things in this white paper which highlight the costliest mistakes that people make with Social Security.
Yeah, let me cover three of them.
Okay.
First, I think that a lot of individuals underestimate the real value of Social Security, and let me expand on that. I think what we've seen over the last few years is that as individuals enter retirement, they do face a lot of investment risk on their own, and they do face the risk of running out of income later on in life. So Social Security really does provide a government promise of guaranteed income for life. And I think also in a low interest rate environment like we're seeing now, it's very difficult for retirees to find good yielding investments with the conservative part of their portfolio. So I think Social Security becomes even more valuable to them. And the longevity risk protection that Social Security provides, I really kind of object on a personal matter with the idea of a break-even point. I don't think Social Security really should be talked about as whether there's a time frame where you get more back from the program or less back, because there really is longevity protection built into it.
Okay.
Also, the inflation protection provided by Social Security is just tremendous, and it's really hard to match in the private environment. And then I'd also say the other mistake is people rush to collect without really looking at all their different options. I think they're sometimes afraid that the government's going to cut back on their Social Security benefits. And then lastly, really not understanding all the different options that are available, whether you're married, you come into retirement when you're divorced, or you're widowed.
Now, many people, when they think about Social Security, they are worried that it will not be around. For example, a baby boomer now probably can expect to at least have some benefit here, but we keep hearing the end date. It's keep going down, you know. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've been asked that question a lot when I've done public presentations on it. The way I answer it, and again, this is my own personal views, not necessarily those of Prudential, but all types of retirement income have risk to them. I think you have to really measure and weigh the different types of risk of where you want to draw income in retirement. And I say that because I think Social Security, all the different proposals that have been on the table over the last 10 years, really have left individuals that are at or near retirement alone. The only potential cutback that I've read about that didn't go very far was the idea that the cost of living adjustment formula would be cut back. So I'd say for those that are younger, yeah, go ahead and save as if it might not be there or might not be there in the form it's in now. But I think for those at or near retirement, I think you should consider the fact that the political risk that it might be cut is probably not great, but it is present.
Okay. You know, there are some pitfalls associated with Social Security from a tax standpoint. I mean, it's counterintuitive that it should be taxed at all, but it is. Can you talk about how it is taxed compared to other retirement income? Yeah,
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Quite honestly, it gets quite complicated,
right.
And I have written about it in a paper that listeners can download from the Prudential website. But it's really been misunderstood a lot in the financial planning community, and most planners, I think, would say that, you know, there's nothing you can do about the taxation of Social Security because the formula is what it is. And what's really going to happen to a lot of people is it's actually their IRA money or their 401k money when it comes out of the retirement plan is actually going to face a higher marginal tax rate than when they actually put the money into it, because the IRA withdrawals will force the taxation of Social Security benefits. So it's going to surprise a lot of people, and those thresholds, Scott, are not linked to inflation. So more and more individuals are going to pay higher marginal tax rates on their 401k withdrawals. And our research has shown that if you choose to actually take higher amounts of retirement income in the form of Social Security, it can be a much more tax-efficient approach. Number one, if you're trading, if you will, an IRA dollar to take a Social Security dollar, say at age 70, you're not going to have the ordinary income tax rate on that IRA dollar, and then the formula which determines the taxation of Social Security actually is much more favorable towards Social Security income itself. So you can actually take a lot more income in the form of Social Security before you'd face any taxes. And that's what we've kind of laid out in our paper. And it does belie conventional wisdom, where most people are saying, you know what, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. You should always defer taking money out of your qualified products till later on. And our research has shown for a lot of individuals that that's not actually the most beneficial approach because of the high marginal tax rates they'll pay on those IRA withdrawals later on when they're retired.
Many couples retire at different times because of the age differences, and there are some things to consider. Spouses, with a retiring spouse and maybe retiring themselves a little bit later, eligible for benefits a little bit later. What kinds of things do spouses need to consider about this?
Well, I think the most important thing is to think about when you're putting together a retirement income plan is look at your retirement income risk tolerance. So what is your risk tolerance to making sure that you have income, that's guaranteed for life if you live a long life, and you should consider it across the lives of both spouses. And how important is it that it keeps up with inflation, and how much guaranteed income do I have coming in with annuities, maybe a pension, Social Security, and then really looking at the fixed costs that you're going to have that you really need to cover these essential expenses into retirement. And then the planning with the Social Security benefits can really start, and you really need to understand and get some professional advice, if you will, on the potential benefits that are available for married couples. You might be able to draw a spousal benefit based on your wife's work record when you turn, say, age 66, and be able to delay your own and switch over at age 70 to a much higher benefit, and vice versa. And there's different strategies that are available. So I would say the most important thing is understand what strategies are available. How can you optimize the guaranteed lifetime income that Social Security can provide, and also what's going to be the potential survivor benefit down the road? Because what Social Security also does is it says, all right, when one spouse dies, they look at the current benefits for both spouses, and the higher benefit will live on. So if I have a higher benefit than my wife and I predecease her, she will inherit my benefit, and her smaller benefit will will go away. So what's important, especially in a world where traditional pensions are going away, and a lot of female spouses especially will live long lives past their husbands, is thinking about that potential survivor benefit, which will be paid down the road.
And then we hear a lot about longevity risk, which you hinted at here, and that people are living a lot longer. In fact, it's, if you have a couple that's age 65, there's a good chance they're going to be 85 or 90. Talk about delaying benefits. People are now encouraged to work longer, to delay the benefits as long as they can, but there would be an income gap there sometimes. What are some of the options you would think would be appropriate to help bridge those gaps?
Yeah, I think there is a message out there that people have to work longer. I don't think that is always necessarily the case. If individuals do want to retire and they do have the options available to them, you might be able to retire at 62. And I think if you lay out an optimal strategy, to delay perhaps the higher earners benefit within a couple, and then take a spousal benefit. Once you create this strategy to collect Social Security over time, then you can build back, and you can draw income from another product during that, what I refer to as a bridge period from the point you retire to the point that all the Social Security benefits kick in. And annuities are great products for that, especially variable annuities that have withdrawal benefits. So you could still get guaranteed lifetime income, but there's flexibility. I mean, that's the one thing about Social Security. It's not flexible. It's an irrevocable decision, and if something happens, there's no ability to monetize that benefit. So a variable annuity with a living benefit, you'd be able to tap into the account value. So I think those products are great. You can also use CDs or a money market account.
Finally, with the way that Social Security is progressing, and it is a wonderful benefit that people have, but as you hinted at earlier, it's pretty complex. There's some things one has to consider. What is your message to the advisor out there who has to deal with this?
Well, I'd say to the advisor, number one, I think it's a great way to provide value to a client or potential client to become educated on Social Security. And I think it also opens the door for a discussion about any gaps that are still present after you do your Social Security planning for guaranteed income. So I think there's an opportunity to actually use Social Security planning as a door opener to then have discussions about financial planning and other products that could supplement Social Security to really create a secure income stream for your clients.
Jim Mahaney has been my guest. He is Vice President with the Strategic Initiatives Unit of Prudential. Jim, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
And you're watching Annuity News Now.